About 12 years ago, Chris and myself and our kids moved out here to the Reading area from New Jersey. And after we were here for a little bit, I started getting in my car and driving around just to get lost. Driving out into the Ole area, to the farm area, or driving out to the Reading area, and then beyond that, I had no idea how to get around. It was 12 years ago, so smartphones weren't out yet. I had no GPS, I didn't take any maps with me. But the whole idea was just to get familiar and get to know the area. Sometimes I would get a little lost. Sometimes I would get really lost for a few hours at a time. And that was a little weird. I definitely got to know a lot of Berks County. But eventually I would start to see some signs of entering into towns that I knew were familiar and that were kind of close to Exeter, where we live, right outside of Reading. And then I knew we're getting there. Then I knew I was getting close again, even without a map, without anything else. Those town signs began to let me know I was getting close to being home again with my family. So this is one of a few different corn mazes that are outside of the city of Reading, obviously become really popular this time of the year. And this weekend, there's going to be children and parents and groups of friends that are going to be paying money to get lost. Most of the time people are in and out, in about an hour or so, but there are mazes around the country that are huge and they get a little crazy. And if you do some research online, you'll find some stories from CBS, Huffington Post, and others who talk about every year there are multiple people that get really lost inside a corn maze. There's a corn maze in California that's over 60 acres, and every night people call 911, multiple people, because they're lost inside of those towns, and they get terrified. I don't know if they watch too many Children of the Corn movies or what the deal is there, but what starts off to be fun, getting lost, becomes a very scary experience of not being able to find your way out. And that makes me think a little bit, if you're anything like me, you've had times in your life in which you feel like you're lost. Not in a car, not in a corn maze, but I mean really feeling like you are lost in life. You're lost spiritually. When I was a teen, I made a series of some bad decisions, decisions that hurt myself and that hurt other people. And I remember during that time feeling a little lost. I remember feeling like I turned my back on God, and I wasn't sure quite how to get back to Him. Years later, when I was married and starting a young family, we had a series of tragedies that happened in very quick succession within a few years. It was a really hard time. And during that time, I felt like God turned His back on me, not that I turned my back on Him. But I didn't understand the pain, I didn't understand what we were experiencing, and I took it as an absence of God being with us. Both times I felt lost. And you may be going through a time right now where you feel that way. You feel like you can't get back to God, whether it was your decisions or decisions of others that brought some pain in your life. and you feel a little lost, inside all of us are these longings that we have for love and for meaning and for purpose. And we typically take those longings and we try to find some kind of fulfillment in other people or careers or things in this life. And that leads to a lot of the pain that we experience. But what if all of those longings that's universal, what if they were put in us by God as invitations to say, come and experience the fulfillment of those longings legitimately in Him? What if those longings were like those town signs that I used to see when I was lost driving around in my car, and I would see those town signs that let me know I was getting close to home? What if those longings were put in us as a reminder to let us know that we're getting close to God if we can begin to turn those longings toward Him and the fulfillment in Him alone? You may feel like you're too far gone, that you've really messed up, and that God really doesn't want to have anything to do with you. Jesus speaks specifically to you in a story that He talks about to represent what God actually thinks and feels toward us. And it's a story called The Prodigal Son. And I won't tell you the whole story now, but to sum up the story, the son who comes from a really good home and feels loved and has everything he ever needed still decides to take the longings for love and for meaning and purpose and put them outside. And he lives a crazy life and he does whatever he wants to do, and it's kind of a wild existence. And eventually he ends up alone, and he ends up hurt. He ends up feeling very distant from his father. And so he returns back to home because he doesn't know what else to do. He doesn't know where else to go. And he thinks that his dad won't take him back, and if he does take him back, he may take him back as a servant, but certainly not as a son. The dad hears that he's approaching in town, and the story goes, the father runs out to meet him, and he embraces him, and he loves him, and he hugs him, and he gives him a ring, and he gives him a robe, and they throw a big feast. And the son is shocked that there would be such love and acceptance and forgiveness of his father. And Jesus was telling us that so that we understand that's how God feels about us. You feel that you're too far gone, but that's not how God feels. God is just waiting for your return. And all of this means to me that we are not as lost as we are. So I want to invite you to a series that we're doing at Reading City Church parishes, both at our City Parish and at our West Reading Parish, St. James and First City Parish. During the next 5 weeks of October, come out every Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, and learn with us as we go through this little mini-series about finding your way back to God. It doesn't matter where you've come from. Everybody's welcome. And we'll have some food this Sunday morning in particular as we kick off the series. Bring a friend with you, a family member, or come alone. But come ready to learn about how to find your way back to God. He's not as far away as you think or feel.
Join us this Sunday at one of our RCC parishes at 10 o'clock for our new series, Finding Your Way Back to God. Here's what's coming up in the life of Reading City Church.
Coming up on October 16th is a worship collective meeting at 6:30 p.m. at St. James. This meeting is for anyone currently involved in a worship team or for anyone who would like to know more about worship here at RCC. On Friday, October 13th, Weaver's Orchard will be hosting an apple festival for youth in the Reading area. The Reborn Youth Ministry would like to invite all students in 6th through 12th grade to join them for this fun event. This night is free, and there will be rides, games, food, and a live DJ. The Reborn leaders are excited about this event and hope you can join us.
Jeff and Sarah Bateman will be hosting game nights at their home on the first Friday of every month. Join them Friday, October 6th at 7 p.m. for a fun night of fellowship and games. All are welcomed. More information and directions to the Bateman's home is available in the welcome area.